This is WNHC TV Channel 8, New Haven, Hartford. It's 6 p.m. From Channel 8, Connecticut's news leader, this is Action News. 6 p.m. report, Monday, November 23rd, 1970. And here now is Peter Wiggins. Good evening, everybody. Top of the night. Action News, and the big story on Action News tonight is in Washington, where the Pentagon refused today to rule out the possible U.S. warplanes struck in the Hanoi Haiphong area during the weekend raids against North Vietnamese missile and anti-aircraft sites. Pentagon spokesman Jerry W. Freitam said today attacks by 250 freighter bombers were in support. Aircraft were limited to targets below the 19 parallel, but refused to comment on when asked if other planes are fired on targets north of the parallel as charged by the Hanoi government. Freitam had no comment when asked by the newsman to state frontly wherever any planes flew above the 19 parallel, which is about 175 miles north of the demilitarized zone against that separating Vietnam of the North and South Vietnam. Freitam said that the raids were carried out over a 7-hour period and announced that no U.S. planes were lost. Hanoi was claimed that the 5 planes and a helicopter were shot down. Hanoi was also charged that civilians were killed in airstrikes in the northern province above the 19 parallel, and a number of U.S. servicemen were injured in a U.S. air attack on prisoner of war camp. This was flatly denied by the Pentagon. The main targets, Freitam said, it included the approach routes to the Muga and Ban Carai per Season Allowance and other approach routes leading to the Southern DMZ. There was essentially the same area that the Pentagon said that were hit in the last mass U.S. airstrike against North Vietnam between May 1st and 4th. In a statement, he repeated Secretary of Defense Mavnar Laird's announcement Saturday that the protective reaction missions were in retaliation for attacks on unarmed U.S. reconnaissance planes over North Vietnam to protect American pilots flying strikes against North Vietnamese military supplies moving from Laos towards South Vietnam. The raids drew heavy congressional criticism in Washington, where anti-war forces take the open debate on President Nixon's South Asia program. Chairman J. William Fulbright of Senate Foreign Relations Committee described the bombing as very ominous. The raids imply that the administration still seeks military victory rather than a negotiated settlement, the Arkansas Democrat said. Senator George D. Allen, Vermont ranking Republican on the committee, told a home state newspaper that he was surprised Nixon did not consult key Congress before the weekend strikes. He hinted at Capitol retaliation. In Washington, on a 6-3 vote, the Supreme Court today directed the trial judge to accept guilty pleas from the defendants would protest that they are really innocent and have pleaded guilty, only to avoid a trial and probably suffer a stiffer sentence. The ruling in a North Carolina case resolves the dispute among the state and federal courts by rejecting the notion such guilty pleas are involuntary and thus invalid. The Constitution does not bar imposition of a prison sentence upon an accused who is unwilling to expressly admit his guilt, but who, when faced with criminal alternatives, is willing to waive his trial and accept the sentence, said Justice Brian R. Wright. The majority in action today, the Supreme Court let stand that ruling that no photograph of the female anatomy can be obscene whatever the pose, so long as sexual activity is not depicted. Let stand ruling that tenants have a right to withhold rents if landlords fail to keep apartments in decent condition. The ruling for the U.S. District Circuit Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia applies only to the Capitol. The guilty plea ruling versus the U.S. Circuit Court in Richmond, Virginia, in December 1963 case of Henry Say offered who pleaded guilty in the slaying of Nathaniel Young of Forsyth County, North Carolina, was sentenced to 30 years in prison. While pleading guilty to second-degree murder, Hartford protested and said, "I ain't shot no man." But he added, "I just pleaded guilty because they said that they would guess me that is all." Hartford has been indicted for first-degree murder. Had he gone to trial and convicted, he could have been sentenced to death. If he pleaded guilty to first-degree murder, he could have been sentenced to life in prison. By pleading guilty and second-degree murder, he faced a maximum sentence of 30 years. John, Ivory Coast. The government of Guinea claimed today that mortar sinners hired by Portugal tried for the night to land on its shore, but Guinean forces repulsed them. The UN Security Council at an emergency meeting Sunday night called for an immediate withdrawal of all foreign forces in the West African country and agreed to send an investigative mission. The fight has not ended. Marxist President Secure Tourist government said today in a broadcast from Conakry, the capital, the enemy is still here all night. He tried to disembark over mercenaries, but in vain. That's the second day of the war that the Portuguese colonization has been imposed upon us at the beginning. Earlier broadcast from Connecticut charged that about 350 European and African mercenaries under the Portuguese flag attacked the defense ministry and the airport early Sunday to divert Guinean troops on Northern and Middle Guinea. That's at the town of Bocan, about 100 miles northwest of the capital, near the frontier of the Portuguese Guinea, which probably would be invaded next. All the points of resistance are trying to destroy. The governor and radio said after the first landings, the radio reported the capture. The invaders said 6 to 10 ships left Bissau, Portuguese Guinea capital, more than Guinean territory waters, and sent in boats with a landing party. Radio Congressional said, and also spoke today that the cowardly killing of a certain number of Europeans to them from West Germany, and reported on the fighting on Sunday. They broadcast that the Guinean government deplores these killings but gave no details. In a personal appeal to the UN Secretary General Youth and President of Guinea said its country was the object of aggression by the Portuguese armed forces. He appealed for a force of UN troops to help wipe out the last position occupied by the Portuguese mercenaries and to pursue the aggressors. Ships from our territorial waters. The Portuguese government in Lisbon said the Guineans in charge of Portuguese involvement in the invasion was without the slightest foundation. A statement that said Portugal has enough troubles already in its African territories because of its neighbors who show interest in creating more, and tourist government provides sanctuaries for guerrillas in the colonial government in Bissau. Radio Congressional also reported without elaboration that French troops in Senegal were taking up positions along the Guinean border. Guinea is on the west coast of the West African bulge, with Portuguese Guinea, Senegal, Mali in the north, and Mali on the Ivory Coast to the east, and Liberia and Sierra Leone on the south. Troy now 48 has run the country since France set it free in 1958. The only one under the French African countries to refuse to continue military and looser political ties with France. France said it retaliation cut off economic aid. Since then, Guinea has been among the so-called third world and non-aligned nations in international affairs, dealing with both the Soviet Union and Communist China, with the United States and West Germany. Detroit, more than 50 General Motors supplier plants were operating across the country today, with the first post-strike car expected to roll off in assembly line Tuesday morning, according to the GM spokesman. The first GM car produced since the United Auto Workers strike started September 15 will be a subcompact Chevrolet Vega, to the spokesman said. It'll be produced at the Lordstown, Ohio Chevrolet plant and will go directly to a dealer showroom, Floyd said. The Lordstown facility is one of 5 assembly plants scheduled to begin operation Tuesday. The others are, according to spokesman, are the Chevrolet plant at St. Louis and 3 GM assembly division plants at Arlington, Texas, Framingham, Massachusetts, and Wilmington, Delaware. The company plans to open production plants on Wednesday in Pontiac Motor in Pontiac, Michigan, Buick in Flint, Michigan, Cadillac in Detroit, Oldsmobile in Lansing, Michigan, and Chevrolet in Willowbend, Michigan. The spokesman said the company had no immediate estimate of how much employees were involved in the reopening. The AW has settled an all-in local level contracts of what GM has termed key facilities, and 13 out of 24 assembly plants have settled the local agreements, the spokesman said. Tentative agreements at the last 2 GM plants termed crucial to the restart of the production came this weekend. Stamping plant at Mansfield, Ohio, ratified a local settlement Sunday at the Chevrolet plant in Warren, Michigan, as expected.
It's interesting, Ohio State, just the difference in the mentality of throwing the ball down the field now because the safeties were up.
New Delhi, India.
It's executed, the corners off.
2 Soviet cosmonauts called today for a greater international cooperation exploring in outer space for peaceful purposes. It would be much more feasible and much better for mankind to stop all the wars and concentrate on exploring the cosmos and the worlds of our sciences. 37-year-old Lieutenant Colonel Yevgeny Krenov told the news conference. This will be much better results for mankind, and it would be much easier to conduct space investigations naturally. And in cooperation with each other, we're calling him the space journey in January 1969 when he took part in the link-up of Soyuz 4 and Soyuz 5 spaceship. Krenov said when we were flying in outer space orbiting the Earth, we were observing our planet, and it will look very, very peaceful, very beautiful. And as the reserve of wars and similar disasters, so it is better to concentrate on its peaceful purposes. And Krenov, a federal cosmonaut. Washington, as many as 30% of the children in some elementary schools may be receiving drugs to crack them down, a government investigator told Congress today. This is a sober estimate I heard. Dr. Leo E. Hollister, a medical investigator for the Veterans Administration, said in testimony prepared for a Senate subcommittee beginning for days of hearings on government drug ban practices. Hollister told the subcommittee that the 30% figure was given him by pediatricians at California's Cancer Institute. He quoted that pediatrician as saying that the drugs were being used on pupils in the Fremont and Walnut Creek schools in the San Francisco East Bay section. Hollister declined in an interview to speculate how widespread use of drugs might be against them across the country. But he said, we have seemed to have a plague of Connecticut children on hand. There's the number of instances, he said, of a disease being invented so a drug can be used. He also said that, however, that the increased use of drugs in children was a cop-out by adults unable to cope with the vexation that are children. Overactive children used to be thought suffering of a small degree of brain damage that wasn't detectable clinically yet. That is sort of usually believed to be relatively uncommon, so suddenly become a a major affliction of childhood is a mystified matter. He said the normal exuberance of childhood now seems to be viewed in pathological. He said, in any case, large numbers of children are being treated as stimulants, especially methylphenidate, as amphetamines have a bad name at present for a questionable diagnosis. He also said that the Defense Department is buying large supplies of the drug methylphenidate. These purchases, he added, undoubtedly reflect the major use in dependent children. Although the drug was introduced about 14 years ago, presumably in a new type of stimulant, but less potent in the atmosphere, and amphetamine sales were disappointing. They began storing about 2 years ago. Hollister noted after being nationally published magazine articles described stimulants as beneficial in treating hyperactive children. Medical authorities say some drugs which stimulate adults have reverse effect, which helps calm overactive children. Some authorities told the House subcommittee recently that drugs are an acceptable way to treat a nervous disorder known as hyperkinesis, of which has excessive activity and ability to concentrate as in its main symptoms, but secretary of welfare. Elliot Richardson has been said behavior modifying drugs are not necessarily the best method of the treating overactive school children, now then that other effective treatment includes remedial education, family counseling, and psychotherapy. A patrolman accused of violating departmental regulation in Meriden was scheduled to get a hearing this afternoon. Also, there is a chance that some police promotion may be made. Mayor Dorsey this morning in Meriden confirmed that report on the special meeting of the Board of Public Safety has been set for 4 p.m., which it did. Press with details, Dorsey would only say that the accusation against patrolman Edward Putman and the man declined to specify which regulation. Putnam allegedly violated police scuttlebutt at headquarters today, virtually ignored the Putman case, but not so regarding promotions. Reports that if the board is ready to promote at least 3 men in the rank of the sergeant. One rumor is that the 2 men in the detective bureau will be made sergeants and 1 man in the uniform division. Tel Aviv, Egyptian warplanes flew across and along almost the entire length of the Suez Canal today, passing over Israeli army encampments in violation of the ceasefire, the Israeli military charge. Egyptian planes also flew over the Israeli positions on Sunday, a spokesman claimed. 2 complaints were lodged with UN truce supervision on 40 days, 1 for each overfight, he said. In both cases, 2 pairs of Soviet-made Sukhoi Su-7 sped along the canal, apparently on reconnaissance missions. No bombs were dropped, there were no strafing, and the Israelis did not fire on the planes, he added. It was the first time since U.S. initiated canal ceasefire was extended November 6, and that Israel has complained of alleged breaches by Egypt's Deputy Minister of Information. Minur Hafez denied in Cairo that any Egyptian planes have been flown across the ceasefire line Sunday, then accused the Israelis of trying to seize world public opinion. During the first 90-day ceasefire period, Israel complained frequently that Egypt was moving missiles closer to the canal. The Israelis sometimes published aerial photographs of missiles allegedly brought into the canal zone in the United Nations once charged Israel with violating the ceasefire by reconnaissance flights over the Egyptian territory, but the Israelis never admitted that they had flown there. Vatican City, Pope Paul VI directed today that the right to elect popes and hold where Vatican office be withdrawn from cardinals past 80. The aim was to rejuvenate the Roman Quran, the central offices of the Roman Catholic Church, and the secret conclaves of the cardinals. The only men permitted to vote for the Pope. It also immediately rekindled speculation about a possible retirement by the Pope himself, who is 73 years old right now. The Pope's order came in a motu proprio document by his own hand in the fall by 4 years in appeal by the Pope to bishops to voluntarily retire from active office at age 75. Since then, there have been talk, never commented upon by the Vatican, that the Pope may be thinking of retiring himself. Today's order reinforced the idea. Paul's 2 immediate predecessors, Pius XII and John XXIII, have both died in office above the age of 80. The decree said cardinals 80 and over cannot be conclave to elect the Pope, but a cardinal who becomes 80 during the conclave can stay on. Despite the new restrictions, cardinals remain members of the Sacred College and princes of the Church until they die. The Pope said the decree goes into effect on next January 1st. If it has an effect of excluded from the Roman Curia, the Central Church Administration, and from the other organisms of the Holy See and the Vatican City, and any cardinal 80 or over. The document did not say anything about cardinals who have pastoral jobs at any diocese. There remains no mandatory retirement age for them. Although the Pope in August 1966 has all bishops and cardinals to voluntarily give up their administrative positions at the age of 75. The document today is the most important papal move since then to rejuvenate the real circles of the Church. By January 1st, 25 to 127 present cardinals that have reached 80, 16 of these are among the 3 cardinals in the Roman Curia. Of the 25 cardinals Cardinals will lose their right to select the Pope 11 of talents, 3 French, 2 Spaniards, 2 Portuguese, a German, a Scotsman, an Irishman, an Argentine, a Brazilian, a Mexican, and an American. The American is James Francis Cardinal McIntyre, A for the nation as Archbishop of Los Angeles, accepted on January 21st. The most notable cardinal affected by the decree of the Dean of the Sacred College, Eugene Cardinal Toussaint of France, was 86. He also told the Vatican Archbishop of post he will lose. Other cardinals affected include Alfredo Attavani, former secretary of the Congregation of Doctrine of the Faith, who was 80, and Almano Secognani.
Not miss a beat. In fact, I do a weekly.
In news capsules, in New Haven, a wide-ranging Yale University research project in the development of normal retarded children has received a $1.6 million grant from the U.S. Department of Health, Education, and Welfare. The grant, which covers the Yale program for a 5-year period, goes to the team of researchers from the Yale Department of Psychology and the Child Studies Center for the Yale School of Medicine and University announced today. Our investigations are focused on the intellectual, emotional, motivational, and personal development of children, said Susan Harder, Associate Professor at the Psychology and Child Studies Center. Though such efforts, we hope to know more about the kind of intervention will most effectively will help the retarded children from disadvantaged backgrounds, and children in general to reach the peak of their individual potential, she said. Washington House Ways and Means Committee will report today have put up until next year's action on President Nixon's proposed tax on lead activists and gasoline. Representative Herman T. Schneebeli will file Pennsylvania total proposed action was taken by. Inform argument that the closed meeting of the panel of which Schneebeli is a member. Nixon had proposed a tax of $4.25 a pound on lead additives used in gasoline. It had gone in effect on October 1st. The tax was estimated to produce a yield of $1.1 billion in the current fiscal year. Also, bill has moved to reduce air pollution.
Hoping that Kenny gets in the game. He was warming up.
Hartford, striking public school teachers banned the picket lines inside of the classrooms for the 6th straight school day today, and Hartford and Mayor Ann Costello called for jail sentences for teachers who continue to defy a court order. In her first public statement on the strikes, Mayor Costello also said that the strikers who refused to return to their classes should be fired after due warning from the school board. Noting that Superior Court order issued in October banned the strike by Hartford teachers. Mayor said the strike was clearly illegal. Meanwhile, court hearings were scheduled for this afternoon for some 100 teachers. Judge Paul J. Driscoll at Superior Court continued the hearing from Friday and urged both sides to negotiate over the weekend. Washington, President and Mrs. Nixon will sit down to turkey dinner at the White House Thursday with more than 100 servicemen and women from 3 Washington military hospitals. Mrs. Nixon issued today her own Thanksgiving Day message recalling that our pilgrim forefathers experienced their own times of hardship, yet were able to find amidst hope their fears, the expression in which she seen in the first piece of Thanksgiving. She said, Thanksgiving offers all the opportunity to reflect upon the positives aspects of our lives. The Nixons and possibly 2 daughters will greet them guests in a receiving line in a blue room, but they will not any press covered this official welcoming the patients from the Walter Reed Army Hospital, Defense and Naval Medical Center, and Malcolm Grow Hospital in nearby Air Reserve Force Base.
It's had a very nice game. 9 catches, 120 yards for you. Sudfeld steps up in the pocket.
Washington Railroad Industry and Union negotiators said today that they were far apart in efforts to settle wage dispute involving about 500,000 workers that had offered a nationwide rail strike September 11th. Officials of 4 AFL-CIO unions said the White House Emergency Board's recommendation violated the biggest wage increases package in rail history wasn't enough, and Chief Industry Negotiator John P. Hilt said it was too high. Hilt said that the board's recommended wage package was larger than the General Motors settlement with the United Auto Workers. Paris Jean Dui, chief of the North Vietnamese delegation of the Paris Peace Talks, announced today that his delegation will boycott Wednesday's scheduled session of the talks. He had the scheduled news conference made the circulation in Hanoi would skip the next session because the U.S. air raids on North Vietnam over the weekend. North Vietnam would have said at the time that the raids seriously threatened the Paris conference on Vietnam. I'll have the sports after this commercial break. Stay tuned.
Smart, can rush a passer, can play pass defense, and makes plays from sideline to sideline. He's a true Buckeye linebacker.
You can see why.
Quality used cars at the Bell Volkswagen, one of the nation's oldest Volkswagen dealers. 425 West Main Street in Meriden, 235-6393, open 9 to 9. More people are
vision and instincts, he has it.
I'll see you.
Joining the Central Bank Christmas Club than any other because we give you 1 extra week's payment free. Make us the central bank in your life. The central bank for savings, member FDIC.
With the coverage.
Well, and the reason why we talked to Coach Wilson about that, we see the tackle numbers for Brian. I love that.
The big food center by the Price Buster. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday only. Stay the boneless steak sale. Top of brown rand Swiss. Now 99 cents a pound. And sausage meat to piquet pre-pork for 1 pound package for $1. Save at the big food center by the Price Buster. Okay, now the sports here at 6:20 p.m. on Action News. Philadelphia, the New York Giants put their surprising show on national television tonight against the Philadelphia Eagles in a weekly National Football League Monday Night Spectacular. The odds makers have made the Giants a 7-point favorites for the 9 o'clock game. Overlooking the preseason title ratings, Coach Alex Webster's Giants have won 6 straight after losing the first 3 games. The Giants began the streak with a 30-23 victory over the Eagles, but it took a 34-yard touchdown run by Ron Johnson with less than a minute to play to turn the trick. Both teams appearing good physical condition for the game, important in a National Conference Eastern Division race. Finding out, Ken Parker, a cornerback, may replace Scott Eaton, who was nursing a hamstring muscle at all. The Eagles have an installment of minor bruises, but they should infect the starting lineup. New York's winning streak has been highlighted by the pass of Franklin Tuckerton and the running of the pass receiving of Johnson. Tuckerton has completed 142 of 251 passes for 1,861 yards and 12 touchdowns. Johnson is third in running with 729 yards on 171 attempts, and also third on the pass receiving on 38 catches for 429 yards.
Cut from Joshua Perry, who I said from Liberty.
Tuckerton with Johnson's running and has been improved offensive line and has been able to abandon his famed scramble style and remain in the pocket. In addition to Johnson, the Giants have good receivers in Clifton McNeil, Bob Tucker, and fullback Tucker Frederickson.
The Hoosiers finally will something to cheer about. The extra point coming, Mitch Ewell.
Maloney will be without the service of 3 starters for Thanksgiving morning class with cross-trend rival Planet Meriden. Coach John School said today, but on the other hand, is expected to be at full strength. The Maloney casualty list is headed by tailback Rob Chenenga. His team's leading ground gainer number 2 scorer with 22 points. Chenenga, as junior, has been sidelined since number 7 when he suffered a broken finger during an inter-squad scrimmage. Scubble also reported that Jerry Johnson was starting at fullback against Conrad on November 14th as re-injured his shoulder and will narrowly miss the 10:30 a.m. season finale for schools at 7 Municipal Field. Johnson is a 154-pound junior. The third player out of the commission and list is Mike Koch, a junior linebacker, according to Scubble. Koch sustained a broken rib in the contest. Scubble has placed question marks after the names of Paul Gadger, the starter right guard who missed the Conrad game with an ankle injury, and John, who injured his knee in the same name. At the same game, Gadger and Badensky, however, expect to be ready at kickoff time. The big question mark for the Panthers has been captain Ray Tensa, who has been under action with a strained knee ligament. Ordinarily, Tensa would be handled up punting in most of the passes for Platt. Platt coach Henry Zolski disclosed today that the Tenska participated in inter-squad scrimmage. Saturday, Eddie played all the way on offensive. According to Zelski, Tenska said the knee was slightly sore after the scrimmage. Statistics combined by the Platt statistician Ralph Muller Jr. showed that Tensa, despite missing 3 full games, is still tied with quarterback Dave Hunter and Phil Milkers of his team's number 3 scorer of 26 points. And Tensa also has the second and best rushing average 4.2 with 400 yards and 95 carries, and has completed the second highest number of passes, 17 for 275 yards and 5 touchdowns. He has been picked off 4 times. Platt won at 2 of the last 3 meetings with Maloney, who had taken a 4-for-1 record against Maloney, which is winning less than 7 games in a season on 11 day back to 1969. Okay, now, all of the weather after this commercial break here on Action News. Here.
ABC College Football presented by K Jewelers. K Jewelers, the number.
Ben Franklin was self-employed. He really knew the benefits of independence, but he taxed himself too much. If you're self-employed, look into the Union Trust HR 10 retirement plan. If it gives you the tax benefits of a corporate retirement fund, it's tailored precisely to meet your needs, giving you the maximum tax savings provided by law. And local administration means you don't have to call our state for answers to your questions. Return our coupon for more information or phone out one of our trust officers. Ben Franklin would have jumped at the chance. In New Haven, phone 497-4500. Stanford 348-6211 and then 744-1230 in Danbury. Union Trust, the bank for every money thing.
Refer to Ohio State as Ohio.
Cape Christmas going with all the gift that says something all year long. All telephones, gift wrapped and delivered free. To order, give one of your Christmas bells a ring at your phone. Store list in your directory on the phone store at 7 New England Telephone.
Next week, noon on ABC, game, Ohio State.
WNHC TV Channel 8 in New Haven presents Weather with Peter Wiggins, brought to you by 7 New England Telephone. Here now, Peter Wiggins. Good evening, everybody, on this Monday evening, November 23rd, 1970. Our current conditions around the region. 37's below all over the state from New Haven, stretching down into the Bridgeport, and stretching down into New London, and stretching down to Denver, down for Waterbury, down for Hartford, and down into New Bradley and Windsor Locks, and it's Parrot 20s in Leominster and Worcester, Massachusetts. 37 out in Springfield and Westfield and in Pittsfield and up in North Adams. 20 in Albany and Poughkeepsie and Newburgh. 33 in White Plains. And it's 31 out in New York City at Central Park and 31 in Islip on Long Island. Weather-wise around the nation today, locally heavy snow and snow flurries occurred from northern New England and the Lake region and stretching out in Appalachians as cloudy, cold weather dominated southern New England today. Cold temperatures prevailed across the east and clear occurred over the metro country, although warm conditions covered the Florida Peninsula and the southwest. Locally heavy snow and freeze rain extended throughout the northwest. Here, so forecast goes like this. Continued chance of scattered flurries tonight. Temperatures dipping into the low 20s. Variable continents and continued windy and cold with a chance of more snow flurries. Tuesday highs in the low to mid 30s, and for Wednesday, Putcott and continued cold high will be about 30 degrees. And that's me for the action news. The 6 p.m. report. I'm Peter Wiggins. You have a good evening, and coming next on Channel 8 will be the ABC News with Frank Reynolds, Howard K. Smith. I'll be back for the action news after the Monday night football game between the Giants and the Eagles. Have a good evening.